I, Maverick, work as a financial consultant for a mid-sized investment firm and make decent money, around $140,000 a year. Not rich enough to have my own yacht, but comfortable enough to own my condo downtown and drive a BMW I actually earned instead of leasing just to look cool. You know, the kind of car you actually own so you can smugly say, yeah, it's mine, instead of mumbling something about a 36-month agreement. My parents divorced when I was 15 because my dad was a cheating piece of work. Watching that play out was like getting a front row seat to a masterclass in how to wreck a marriage 101. So I learned early on, actions matter way more than words. Which is probably why what happened with Sophie hit me like a tax bill you forgot was coming. Sophie and I had been together for 2 years, engaged for 6 months. She's 26, blonde, Instagram pretty, you know the type. Every photo is either a bikini shot, a brunch mimosa, or a selfie with suspiciously good lighting for just waking up. She has this way of making you feel like the most important guy in the room, but only when she wants something. Looking back, that was pretty much always. She had these big blue eyes that could make you believe anything. Aliens built the pyramids? Sure. She's definitely going to start meal prepping this week. Of course. And she knew exactly how to use those eyes, like twin debit card readers connected directly to my bank account. The thing about Sophie is she has never actually paid for anything in her life. Not kidding. When we started dating, I thought it was kind of cute, old-fashioned. You know, the guy pays, takes care of his woman, all that traditional stuff my grandfather used to talk about. But with Sophie, it went deeper than dinner dates. Oh no, we were way past appetizers and wine. Her rent? Just until my modeling career takes off, babe. I've got 3 castings next week. Her car payment? My dad usually covers it, but he's being weird about money lately. Something about teaching me responsibility. Groceries, gas, clothes, nights out, her gym membership, her phone bill. Everything just flowed through my credit card like I was some kind of human ATM with unlimited funds and a terrible fraud detection system. Every once in a while, I'd gently bring up the idea of her pitching in, like a normal adult. Hey, maybe we could split the utilities this month. I'd suggest. She'd give me this hurt little frown, like I'd just kicked a puppy, and say, I thought you wanted to take care of me. Don't you want me to focus on building my career instead of worrying about bills? And honestly, part of me did like taking care of her. There's something primal about being the provider, the protector. When we'd go out and she'd lean into me, looking absolutely stunning in the dress I'd bought her, mind you, and introduce me as her successful fiancé, I swear I felt 10 feet tall. Maybe 11 if the lighting was flattering. It's a weird mix of pride and mild awareness that you're basically her walking Amex Platinum card, but still, 10 feet tall. She claimed to be a social media consultant, working with local businesses on their Instagram presence. And honestly, it made perfect sense to me. She did spend about 6 hours a day glued to her phone, carefully crafting posts, editing photos, engaging with followers. The woman could crop, filter, and hashtag like she was born in the App Store. She had decent numbers, too. Around 15,000 followers when we met, and she was always trying to grow them. It's all about the algorithm, she'd say, eyes wide like she was talking about the secret formula for Coca-Cola. Then she'd whip out her phone to show me graphs and analytics that looked like the stock market had eaten a rainbow. I'd nod like I understood. In reality, I couldn't have told you if she was showing me Instagram engagement or a weather forecast for Mars. She'd talk about her clients constantly. The boutique downtown wants me to feature their new collection. That restaurant is paying me to post about their brunch menu. I'm consulting with a fitness influencer about her content strategy. It all sounded legitimate to someone, like me, who knew absolutely nothing about social media marketing. But here's what should have been a flashing red neon sign with sirens on top. She never seemed to actually work. Ever. No scheduled calls. No client meetings. No frantic deadlines keeping her up until 2 a.m. Instead, she'd lounge around the apartment in yoga pants, scrolling through her phone. If I asked, so, what are you working on right now? She'd look at me like I just insulted the Mona Lisa and say, this is research or engagement strategy. Tuesday night, I was making steak for dinner, medium rare, because I'm not a savage, when she walked in and dropped her phone on the kitchen counter with that dramatic flair she reserves for when she's about to launch into an episode of The Sophie Show. Special Victim Unit. Her Chanel bag, also bought by yours truly for our anniversary, hit the marble with that satisfying, expensive thunk. You know the sound. The one that says, this costs more than your first car. We need to talk, she announced, not so much as glancing at the food I was cooking or bothering with a casual, hey, how was your day? Apparently, steak night is also ambush intervention night. I kept seasoning the steaks, trying to keep things light. About what? Did something happen at work? She gave this half laugh that said, oh, sweetie, you think you're cute. Your behavior lately. the questions, the checking up on me. It's suffocating. And there it was, the edge in her voice. The one that says, buckle up, Maverick, we're about to take a scenic drive through Gaslight Canyon. I set down the pepper grinder and turned around. What questions? She rolled her eyes so hard, I was worried they'd get stuck back there. Really? Yesterday you asked who took that gym photo last week. You wanted to know why I was at that restaurant when I said I was working. Before that, you questioned why I needed new headshots. Here's the thing. Sophie had been posting these ridiculously professional-looking photos lately. Not your standard bathroom mirror selfies or blurry brunch shots. We're talking magazine-quality stuff. Gym photos with perfect lighting that made her look like a fitness model, restaurant pics so sharp you could taste the garnish, and beach shots that belonged in a high-end swimwear catalog. The kind of photos that take actual professional equipment, multiple takes, and serious skill to pull off. So yeah, I asked. Because there's clearly a professional photographer taking these pictures. And you never mention working with one. It just seems like a big expense for social media content. I kept my voice calm, even though my brain was waving red flags like it was the Olympic opening ceremony. God, this is exactly what I mean, she snapped. I have friends who help me, okay? Other influencers. We collaborate. We trade services. We help each other create content. She was pacing now, heels clicking against the floor as she circled around the kitchen island. You're being paranoid, and honestly, it's really unattractive. Successful men don't act insecure like this. Ouch. The successful men line. She'd been pulling that card more and more lately, like she had a whole inspirational TED Talk ready to go. Always with the examples. Successful men drive Teslas. Subtle as a brick to the forehead. Successful men don't question their girlfriends. Ah yes, the Jeff Bezos school of blind trust. Successful men take their women on vacation to Dubai. Right, because nothing says romance like getting sand in places you didn't know existed. Successful men trust their partners completely. A classic, usually delivered with an innocent blink that could win an Oscar. I took a breath, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm not being insecure or mad. I'm asking normal questions that any partner would ask. Her eyes narrowed. That what controlling boyfriends ask. Oh good, I thought. We've moved from TED Talk to courtroom cross-examination. She grabbed her phone and that designer purse I'd paid for, probably filled with lip gloss, receipts for nothing she bought herself, and my dignity. You know what? I can't deal with this negative energy right now. I'm going to Cecilia's. Maybe being around someone who actually supports their friends will help me decompress. With that, she stormed out, her heels clicking dramatically on the hardwood like she was making an entrance at the Oscars instead of an exit from my kitchen. That left me with 2 perfectly seasoned steaks and a creeping suspicion that maybe, just maybe, something was seriously wrong with this picture. About an hour later, I got my answer, sort of. She posted an Instagram story from some upscale cocktail bar downtown. You know the kind of place, where drinks cost $18, the ice cubes are hand-carved, and you need a reservation just to get the privilege of overpaying. No Cecilia in sight, just Sophie, glass in hand, perfect lighting, looking like she was about to star in a perfume commercial. And in the background of her mirror selfie, what looked suspiciously like a guy's arm. Expensive watch. Dress, shirt sleeve. Definitely male. She deleted it after a few minutes, but not before I screenshotted it. Call me paranoid, but when your girl lies about where she's going and then posts evidence of it online, that's not insecurity talking. That's pattern recognition. Wednesday, she came home at 3 a.m., claiming she fell asleep at Cecilia's watching movies and lost track of time. She gave me this breezy smile, like stumbling through the doorway at dawn was a perfectly normal part of adult life. You know how it is with girl talk, she said, kicking off her heels and swaying just enough to make me wonder if she'd been talking to girls or bartenders. We got deep into relationship stuff, and before we knew it, we were exhausted. Right, because nothing says exhausting like watching a rom-com in sweatpants. Funny thing, though, Cecilia posted her own Instagram story around midnight. There she was, at home with her boyfriend, making tacos and watching Netflix. No Sophie in sight. No mention of company. Just a cozy night in for 2, complete with one of those boomerang videos of them clinking Coronas together. So unless Sophie had been hiding behind their couch like a feral cat, the girl talk timeline wasn't adding up. By Thursday, I'd had enough. I decided to do some digging. Not full-blown private investigator stuff. No trench coat. No sitting in a parked car with binoculars. Just the kind of basic internet detective work any guy with a finance background can pull off. See, in my job, I spend my days researching companies, verifying financial records, and spotting inconsistencies in documentation. It's called due diligence. Normally, I use it to keep clients from investing in shady startups. This time, I was just applying those same skills to my personal life, which, spoiler alert, was starting to look like a shady startup. I started with her so-called social media consulting business. Sophie was always talking about her LLC, her business account, her professional website, her tax write-offs. It's so important to be legitimate, she'd tell me. The IRS is cracking down on influencers who don't report properly. She had the whole performance down, business cards, a Gmail with her company name, even stories about making quarterly tax payments. Problem was, there's no record of any business registered under her name in our state. I checked the Secretary of State database. Nothing. No tax ID, no business license, no LLC filing, no DBA registration. Her professional email? Just a Gmail account she'd probably set up in her pajamas. The business cards? Could have been printed at Staples for $20. Then I decided to take things up a notch. I reverse searched some of her recent photos using TinEye and Google Images. You know, just a little light digital forensics between morning coffee and my first client call. The gym photo she claimed Cecilia took while they were working out together? Yeah, same exact image popped up on a stock photography site from 3 months ago titled Fitness Model Workout Motivation. Pretty sure Cecilia isn't moonlighting as a stock photographer. The beach shots she said were from our weekend getaway. Also stock photos. She'd carefully removed the watermarks, but metadata doesn't lie. Not if you know how to look. And I do. But here's where things got interesting. I started finding her photos being used on multiple dating profiles across different apps. Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, Seeking Arrangement, even a couple of sugar daddy sites I didn't know existed. She wasn't even sticking to one name. I saw Amber, Madeline, Claire, Emery, but definitely her pictures. Same smile, same poses, sometimes even shots I recognized from our actual dates. Imagine taking your girlfriend to dinner, snapping a cute photo, and then finding that photo later on a dating profile for Madeline, 26, loves champagne and yachts. The bios were all variations on a theme. Entrepreneur looking for a generous gentleman. Social media consultant who appreciates the finer things. Independent woman seeking a successful man who knows how to treat a lady. So, I created fake profiles to see what she was up to. Picked a photo of some generic handsome guy from a stock site. Ironically, probably sitting next to her gym pic in the database. Gave him a backstory about being a successful businessman who travels often and values discretion. Basically, the human equivalent of bait for this kind of fishing trip. The conversations were enlightening. On Seeking Arrangement, Madeline was looking for a generous gentleman who appreciates the finer things in life. Her bio mentioned loving expensive dinners, shopping trips, weekend getaways, and meaningful connections with successful men who understand quality. Which, for the record, is a lot of words to say pay me to hang out with you. She had multiple, very detailed chats with guys about arrangements. Basically, she was selling dates and companionship for money. And the way she wrote, totally different from how she texted me. More sultry, more direct, more businesslike, like LinkedIn, but for your libido. One line in particular stuck with me. I believe in traditional dynamics where a man takes care of a woman who makes him feel appreciated and desired. Which is basically a hallmark card for sugar dating. On the sugar daddy sites, she didn't even bother with subtlety. Pricing was right there. $500 for dinner dates, $1,000 for weekend companionship, $2,000 for vacation travel, and we can discuss additional arrangements based on chemistry and connection. Chemistry, in this case, being code for your Amex limit. She even had testimonials from previous arrangements about being discreet, professional, and unforgettable. Honestly, if she put half this effort into her alleged consulting business, she'd be running a marketing empire by now. But the worst part? Bumble. She wasn't just dating for money there. She was running full-scale relationship scams. I found conversations where she'd build emotional connections with guys over weeks, like long con romance novels, except without the happy ending and with a lot more Venmo requests. She'd share these heartfelt, totally fake stories about her life, creating intimacy and trust. Then, right on cue, hit them up for emergency money. Her dog needed surgery. Her car broke down and she couldn't get to work. Her mom was in the hospital and she had to fly home immediately. Her apartment had a pipe burst and she needed cash for emergency repairs. Same stories, different guys, all perfectly engineered to pull at heartstrings and open wallets. And she was good at it. Scary good. The messages were perfectly balanced, desperate but not too needy, vulnerable but not helpless. The kind of poor me tone that makes you want to throw money at the problem just to feel like a hero. She'd write things like, "I'm so embarrassed to even ask, but I don't know what else to do. I swear I'll pay you back. I just need to get through this week. My family can't help right now, and I can't tell my friends. They'd never understand." It was pure manipulation, but so smooth you almost didn't notice the strings being pulled. Almost. So, I started screenshotting everything. Every profile, every conversation, every lie, like I was building an evidence folder for a Netflix docuseries called My Fiancé, the Fraud Queen. Then I went deeper. Her Instagram DMs were logged into her laptop, which she always left open. She never seemed worried about privacy around me, probably because she thought I was too busy seasoning steaks to check. The messages told a whole story I'd been too blind, and apparently too generous, to see. There were regular clients who paid her for social media consulting, which, surprise, was actually just dates disguised as business meetings. There were group chats with other girls, swapping client info and pricing strategies like they were running a Fortune 500 company. Conversations about photo shoots that were very clearly escorting arrangements. Messages about networking events that turned out to be sugar baby meetups. Discussions on which dating apps were most profitable, tips for avoiding platform detection, and how to stay under the radar. Strategies for managing multiple relationships without getting caught, because apparently, my relationship was just another slot on her project management calendar. She was running a full operation, multiple revenue streams, regular clients, a whole system with backup plans and contingencies. And me? I was the perfect cover. The successful boyfriend who paid her bills and made her look legitimate while she ran her side hustle. Suddenly, the money made sense. The designer bags that cost more than most people's rent. The expensive skincare routine with products I'd never heard of, but apparently cost $200 a bottle. The casual way she dropped $300 on lunch with friends or $500 on a quick shopping trip. She wasn't working much at her fake consulting business because she was busy working a much more profitable one. I felt sick. Not just because of the cheating, but because of how stupid I'd been. I mean, Olympic-level stupid. I'd been handing out the benefit of the doubt like it was on a 2-for-1 special, completely ignoring the giant, flashing, Vegas-style red flags waving right in front of my face. Oh, Sophie's just busy. Oh, Sophie's just tired. No, Sophie was just lying, and I was buying it wholesale. Friday night, she announces, with all the casual confidence of a professional scam artist, that she has a client emergency and will be working through the weekend at some super important social media intensive workshop. She says she'll be staying at the hotel where it's being held. Probably won't be back until Monday, she adds, tossing clothes into a weekend bag like she's late for a flight to Paris. Which hotel? I ask, like I'm curious, but really I'm testing to see just how far she's willing to dig this hole. The Renaissance downtown. Big conference, lots of networking. You know how these industry things are. They pack everything into a weekend and expect you to be available around the clock. Right. Because nothing says urgent business crisis like spending 3 days in a hotel with your best dresses and an unholy amount of perfume. What's the conference called? Maybe I can look it up, I say, keeping my face as blank as possible. Oh, it's invitation only. Very exclusive. The Social Media Marketing Summit. Only about 50 consultants were selected. She doesn't miss a beat. I'm actually really excited about the networking opportunities. I nod. Sounds prestigious. What I don't tell her is that I'd already Googled every possible variation of Social Media Marketing Summit, from 2023 Social Media Marketing Summit to Social Media Marketing Summit Renaissance Downtown Urban Mega Deluxe. Nothing. Nada. Zero. This summit had the same chance of existing as a unicorn running a Starbucks. The second she's out the door, I call the Renaissance. The concierge, who is my new favorite person, cheerfully tells me there are no social media conferences that weekend. Not one. The only event they have is a wedding on Saturday. I even hear him cover the phone and ask someone from event planning to double check, in case this mythical summit was hiding under a fake name. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. So, while Sophie was off, networking, translation, God knows what with God knows who, I spent the weekend going full forensic accountant. I organized screenshots in folders by platform and date, downloaded her dating profiles, complete with full conversation histories, pulled financial records to see exactly how much money I'd given her over the last 2 years, and came up with a number that almost made me choke. $47,000. That's rent, car payments, credit card bills, and loans that had the repayment reliability of a slot machine in Reno. But I didn't just want evidence. Oh no, I wanted more than that. I wanted to understand the full scope of what she was doing. So, naturally, I decided to go full James Bond. If James Bond had a laptop, a Wi-Fi connection, and zero upper body strength. I created a fake profile as Colton, a 35-year-old investment banker. The bio was a masterpiece. Work hard, play harder. Porsche enthusiast. Frequent flyer. Knows the difference between Merlot and Cabernet without Googling it. I even found a stock photo of some guy with a jawline that could cut glass leaning against a cherry red Porsche. Honestly, I was starting to like Colton more than myself. Sure enough, a couple days later, ding match. And not just any match. Her, or rather, Madeline, the social media entrepreneur with a talent for spending other people's money. Madeline pinged me first. Hey, handsome. Love your profile. You seem like exactly the kind of successful man I connect with. That photo of you in the Porsche is incredible. I responded after a few minutes. Thanks, gorgeous. You're absolutely stunning. Tell me about yourself. What do you do when you're not being beautiful? I'm a social media entrepreneur, but I believe in traditional relationship dynamics. I love being taken care of by a strong man who appreciates having a beautiful woman on his arm. Life's too short not to enjoy the finer things. Don't you think? Absolutely. What kind of arrangement are you looking for? She wrote, I'm very selective. I only work with successful, generous men who understand that quality companionship is an investment. And then she just laid it out, like she was reading from a laminated menu. My standard rate for dinner dates is $800. Weekend companionship is $1,500, and travel arrangements start at $3,000. But honestly, it's not just about the money. It's about the connection and mutual appreciation. Oh, of course. Just like how McDonald's isn't about the food, it's about the experience. Those are premium rates. What makes you worth it, Madeline? I'm a premium woman. I have references if you'd like to speak with previous arrangements. I'm discreet, professional, and I make sure my partners always feel appreciated and desired. I'm educated, well-traveled, and comfortable in any social situation. Whether you need someone for a business dinner or a weekend getaway, I promise you won't be disappointed. Then she sent the photos. Oh boy, the photos. First, professional lingerie shots that looked like they belonged in Vogue, questionable decisions edition. Then, bathroom mirror selfies clearly taken in hotel rooms that cost more per night than my monthly utilities. And then, because why not, what appeared to be almost explicit content. Just careful enough to stay platform friendly, but definitely enough to make Colton's fictional Porsche spontaneously combust. This was an amateur hour. This was a full-blown, high-production value operation. She had an entire catalog, organized by theme and style. Colton, I'm very interested. When are you available? So I responded, I have an opening this weekend. There's a beautiful resort about an hour outside the city, the Marriott Resort and Spa. We could have dinner at their 5-star restaurant, enjoy the spa, really get to know each other. I promise it would be an unforgettable experience. This, mind you, is the same weekend she told me she'd be unavailable because of her social media conference. Right. Conference. Sure. The kind where your keynote speaker is wearing a robe and handing you champagne. That was it. I had everything I needed. Time to flip the script. Monday evening, Sophie comes home looking like $1,000,000, fresh hair, flawless makeup, and carrying a Nordstrom bag that definitely didn't contain clearance rack yoga pants. How was the conference, babe? I ask, leaning back in my chair, curious to see how far this bedtime story is going to go. Oh my God, so intense, but really productive, she says, dropping the bag like it's heavy with professional achievement. I made some incredible connections. She fans out a bunch of business cards, props from whatever improv set she's been working on. Later, I'd find out the companies don't even exist. The keynote speaker was this woman who built a 7-figure social media agency, Sophie gushes. So inspiring. That's great. I nod. Learn anything new about the industry? Oh, tons. New strategies for client engagement, visual storytelling techniques. The landscape is changing so fast. What worked 6 months ago is completely outdated now. Apparently, micro-influencers are going to be huge next year. I let her finish her buzzword Olympics routine. Sounds like it was worth missing our weekend together. I pause. Hey, can I show you something cool I found? I swivel the laptop toward her and pull up her seeking arrangement profile. The color drains from her face like someone pulled the plug. What? How did you? Madeline, right? Premium rates for premium companionship. I click through our chat logs. Or do you prefer Amber from Bumble? Or maybe Claire from Ashley? She sits down hard on the couch, the Nordstrom bag tumbling over. Out spills a pile of designer clothes I've never seen before, and definitely hadn't paid for. Maverick, I can explain. Please do, I said, leaning back like a man about to hear the punchline to the world's most expensive joke. Because I've been trying to figure out how you afford designer bags and professional photo shoots on your social media consulting income. This clears things up perfectly. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think, I shot back. You've been running an escort service while I pay your bills and provide cover. Honestly, I should be charging you a marketing fee. I pulled up my phone, swiped a few times, and brought up the spreadsheet I'd been dying to use. Want to see the numbers? Because here's the breakdown. $47,000 over 2 years. Rent, car payments, credit cards, loans you never intended to pay back. And I'm not even counting the emotional damages. Her face went from pale to red. Not embarrassed red. No, this was full-on angry tomato red. You went through my phone, my accounts? You spied on me like some kind of stalker. Who the heck do you think you are? Your fiancé, I said evenly. Who's been funding your prostitution business? Apparently, it's not prostitution. The words came out of her mouth like steam escaping a pressure cooker. It's companionship, high-end social arrangements. These men appreciate having a beautiful, intelligent woman. Sleeping with them for money, I said. Don't you dare talk to me like that. I've never done anything sexual for money. I provide companionship, conversation, someone beautiful to be seen with. I held up my phone again, this time scrolling to the premium content. Explicit photos, a little sexting flair, and the part where Colton, aka me in a fake suit and sunglasses, got the VIP package menu. Really? I said, zooming in. Because Madeline here seems pretty willing to discuss full-service arrangements for the right price. And these photos suggest your companionship involves a lot more than conversation. Unless you're telling me this lingerie set was for charity work. She stared at the screen like it was an SAT question she hadn't studied for. You could almost hear the gears in her head grinding, trying to find the right combination of outrage and denial. Finally, she found her angle. You catfished me. You pretended to be someone else to trap me. That's sick. That's psychotic. I investigated my lying fiancé who's been scamming me for 2 years, I said. That's called due diligence. I wasn't scamming you. I love you. You love my credit limit. I shot back without missing a beat. She shot up from the couch like it was spring-loaded, pacing now, hands trembling, rage, fear, or possibly a bad caffeine crash. You know what? Fine. Yes, I've been seeing other men. Yes, they give me money. She said it like she was announcing she'd switched laundry detergents. But it's because you don't make enough to give me the life I deserve. And there it was. The truth. The ugly little gift she'd been wrapping in tissue paper for months. The life you deserve, I echoed, leaning back like I was listening to an especially delusional TED Talk. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I have value. I deserve nice things. Expensive dinners at restaurants with Michelin stars. Vacations to places like the Malda in Monaco. You mean Maldives? I interrupted. Whatever. She waved like geography was beneath her. Designer clothes that actually fit properly. A Tesla, not some basic BMW that screams middle management. She was full-on ranting now. Years of pent-up entitlement spilling out like a clogged drain finally breaking loose. Other men see that. They appreciate me. They're willing to invest in me properly. By paying you for sex, I said. By supporting my lifestyle. By understanding that beauty and companionship have value. I stared at her. Sophie, that's literally the definition of. She spun around to face me, eyes blazing. God, you're so narrow-minded. This is 2025, Maverick. Women are monetizing their assets. It's called being entrepreneurial. I laughed. I mean actually laughed. Not a polite chuckle, not a smirk. Full-on, chest-heaving, can't-breathe laughter. Which, for the record, is not the response she was going for. Entrepreneurial? Sophie, you're a prostitute. An expensive one, but still a prostitute. Don't you ever call me that, she hissed. I provide companionship to successful men who value me, who appreciate what I bring to their lives. While living off your boyfriend like a parasite, I shot back. But yeah, inspirational. I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with you. Finally, something we agree on. She marched toward the bedroom. I'm packing my things. We're done. Good, I said, leaning on the word just enough to twist the knife. But before you start packing, there's something else you should know. She stopped in the doorway, turned back with a look that could have curdled milk. I sent screenshots of your profiles to your parents. Her face went ghost white. And your sister. And your college friends. And Cecilia, who you've been lying to about where you spend your nights. Her jaw dropped. Oh, and I filed a comprehensive report with the IRS about your unreported income from online activities. Turns out sex work is still taxable, even when you call it consulting. She was shaking now, not with anger, though God knows she had enough of that to power a small city, but with fear. You didn't. Her voice was low, like she was trying to decide whether to cry or stab me. Tell me you didn't. I did. I leaned back against the counter, real casual. About an hour ago, actually. Should be an interesting Thanksgiving this year. Right on cue. Sophie's phone started buzzing like it had been possessed by a telemarketer demon. First her mom, then her sister, then numbers I didn't recognize, probably cousins, aunts, or some poor neighbor who just got pulled into the gossip tornado. She declined them all, but they kept calling back like a debt collector with an espresso addiction. You psychotic piece of work, she hissed, eyes wide like she'd just found out I was secretly the Zodiac killer. Do you have any idea what you've done? These people won't understand. They don't know anything about my life. I smirked. They know now? They know exactly what their daughter and sister has been doing for money. She was crying now, but not sad crying. Oh no, this was the frustrated, Angry, I'm said I'm about to grow fangs kind of crying. The kind of crying that comes from pure rage and possibly too much Botox. Those people live in their little suburban bubble, she spat. They'll never understand that this is a legitimate business, that I'm providing a service. Understand what? I tilted my head. That their daughter is a prostitute? She lost it. Full banshee mode. She grabbed her phone and launched it at me like she was auditioning for the MLB. I ducked, and it hit the wall with a satisfying crack, the screen shattering into a spiderweb of "You're never getting your security deposit back." "I hate you," she screamed, voice cracking. "I hate you so freaking much. You've ruined everything." Her laptop was still open on the counter, practically glowing like a treasure chest in a video game. I wandered over and pulled up her email, scrolling casually while she fumed. Let's see. Here we go. "Hi, Daddy. Need to borrow $2,000 for new headshots for my modeling career. The photographer says these could really help me book bigger gigs." I looked over the top of the screen at her. "This was last week. Same day you made $1,500 from your arrangement with Robert. What a coincidence, huh?" Her jaw clenched. I kept scrolling. "Emergency car repair. Need $800 ASAP, or I won't be able to get to my auditions." "Oh, and here's a good one. Rent is due and my client payments are delayed. Could really use $1,200 to cover it." I turned the laptop so she could see. "Just $500 to get through the month. I promise I'll pay you back when my modeling checks come in." "Stop," she whispered, voice shaking. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. "Your own parents, Sophie. You've been running escort services while simultaneously scamming your own family for thousands of dollars. How do you sleep at night?" "It's not escorting," she shot back, like the words themselves were a magic spell that would change the definition of reality. "Oh, okay," I said, throwing my hands up. "My bad. I guess I hallucinated the rates posted online, the explicit photos, and the detailed menu of sexual services. Maybe I've been sniffing too much Windex." "It's not what you think." "What is it then?" I shouted, leaning forward like I was about to be let in on the most absurd rebranding pitch of all time. "Tell me, Sophie. Enlighten me. What's the industry-approved euphemism for getting paid to do naked Pilates with strangers?" She collapsed onto the couch like she was auditioning for the role of most tragic woman in a Lifetime movie, sobbing in stereo. The angry defiance was gone. Now she looked like she was being crushed under the weight of her own tragic backstory. "You don't understand the pressure," she cried. "Oh, here we go," I muttered. "Cue the violins. Everyone expects me to be perfect, to look perfect, to have perfect things." She waved her hand at herself like she was some priceless art installation that required monthly maintenance and its own museum staff. "Do you know how expensive it is to maintain this? I can't wait for this PowerPoint presentation. The gym membership is $200 a month," she started, dead serious. $200 to run on a treadmill? I can do that outside for free, and it even comes with fresh air. Personal trainer, another $300. Right, because you can't possibly lift weights without a man named Chad telling you to breathe. The skincare routine with all the serums and treatments, $400 monthly. Must be nice to pay rent for your face. Hair color and extensions every 6 weeks, $500. Nails every 2 weeks, $120. The clothes, the shoes, the purses, these men expect to see. "Sophie, you're literally listing this like a Target receipt." I cut in. "I can't just show up looking basic," she snapped. "These men expect quality." "Yeah? Well, so does the IRS. Maybe try a real job." "Doing what?" She threw her hands up. "I don't have skills. I never finished college. I'm not smart like you with numbers and business stuff. So you decided to be a prostitute instead. Stop calling me that. What else should I call you? You literally sell your body for money." Her broken phone was buzzing on the floor like a cockroach refusing to die. The screen was shattered into a spiderweb of cracks, but the text messages were still coming in like it was rush hour in her little side hustle. I bent down, picked it up carefully, and squinted at the fractured display. The thing looked like it had been through a war zone, or maybe just one of her meltdowns. Still, I could make out enough to start reading them aloud. "Sophie, what the heck is this about? Call me immediately. Your father is having a heart attack over here." I looked up. "Oh, that's your mom. Sweet woman." I can practically hear the casserole dish rattling in her hands as she screams at the phone. I scrolled. "Are you kidding me right now? Is this some kind of joke? Please tell me someone hacked your accounts." I raised an eyebrow. "Ah, your sister." Clearly in the denial phase of the family scandal cycle. I tilted the phone toward her and kept going. "We raised you better than this." I grinned. "Ooh, your dad's turn. Very Hallmark Channel. I'm guessing he wrote this while polishing his golf clubs. And, oh, here's another one. Call us right now. This is completely unacceptable, and we need to talk immediately." "Yep, also Dad. Guess he's doubling down on the whole 'I'm outraged' thing. Bold strategy. She was sobbing harder now, shoulders shaking, mascara running like some kind of raccoon in a thunderstorm. I could practically hear the sound of her perfect little world collapsing. Please, Maverick, she choked out. Please don't do this to me. I'll stop everything. I'll delete all the accounts. Do what? I said. Tell the truth? Oh no, how will civilization survive? They'll disown me, she wailed. They'll cut me off completely. I'll have nothing. Maybe they should. I shot back. Might be good for you to learn what it's like to actually work for money instead of opening your legs for it. She froze mid-sob and looked up at me with pure, unfiltered hatred. You're going to regret this, she hissed. I'll ruin you. I'll tell everyone you're abusive. That you forced me into this. That you made me do it. I leaned back, smiling like I was watching a kid threaten to run away from home with a stick and a pillowcase. With what evidence? Your dating profiles? Your escort ads? Your client testimonials? I actually laughed. Good luck with that story. I'm sure the police will be thrilled to hear your victim narrative. Right on cue, her laptop chimed. I glanced at the screen and couldn't hide my smile. Oh look, the IRS is already interested. That was fast. I turned the screen toward her. Says here they're opening a formal investigation into unreported income from online activities. Mentions seeking arrangement and several other platforms by name. How specific. She stared at the email like it was a death sentence, and honestly, I couldn't have scripted a better reaction. How much do you think you owe in back taxes, madam? I asked, tilting my head like I was a curious game show host. 40 grand. 50. Plus penalties and interest. Her eyes flicked to me, wide and glassy, like she'd just realized the IRS wasn't some imaginary boogeyman. It was the kind that kicked in your door and took your couch. And that's just federal, I added, warming up now. State taxes, city taxes, if applicable. Oh, and business license violations for operating without proper registration. You know, since professional companionship is technically a business. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Just this wet, choking sound that was halfway between a sob and a dying blender. I leaned back in my chair, lacing my fingers behind my head. Oh, and the escort stuff? Still illegal in most circumstances. Could be criminal charges depending on what services you actually provided. Hope you saved receipts. I closed the laptop gently, like I was tucking in a child for bed. But hey, silver lining. At least you'll finally learn what it's like to have a real job. Orange jumpsuits are very slimming. That broke her silence. What do you want from me? You want to make this go away? To fix this? I raised an eyebrow. You offering me a plea deal? I'll stop. I'll delete everything. I'll get a real job. I'll pay you back every penny. I laughed, short and sharp. Too late for that. Please, I'll do anything. I'll sign over my car to you. I'll give you all the jewelry you bought me. Whatever you want. I pretended to think about it, tapping my chin. Anything. She nodded so fast I thought her head might pop off. Pack your stuff and get out of my house. 3 hours. That's how long it took her to cram her trash into suitcases while her phone went nuclear. She wouldn't answer a single call or text, though, probably because every single one of them was from someone whose last name matched hers. Every few minutes, she'd wander back into the living room like she'd had a eureka moment and try to renegotiate, as if this was a hostage situation and I was the FBI. I can pay you back all of it. Every penny over the next 2 years. With what money? I said. Your escort earnings are about to be Exhibit A in a federal investigation. My parents will help. They have money. They'll loan it to me to make this right. I laughed so hard I actually had to hold my side. Your parents, who just found out their daughter is a prostitute. The ones blowing up your phone right now? Yeah, good luck with that conversation. She hit me with the whole, please, Maverick, please routine like I was some kind of benevolent king handing out pardons. I made mistakes, she said, eyes all watery, but I love you. I really do love you. I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. You love my bank account. There's a difference. Her face twitched, probably calculating whether that was worth arguing with. Apparently not, because she pivoted to a new strategy, sitting on the edge of the bed and folding clothes like she was auditioning for a sad laundry commercial. Look, I know this looks bad, but most of these guys, we never actually, you know? I said, tilting my head. You mean the part where you're paid for the you know? It really was just companionship most of the time, she insisted. I gave her a flat look. I saw the explicit photos, Sophie. I read the messages about full service. Stop lying. She put on her best offended face. Those photos were just marketing, and the messages were just to get them interested. Uh-huh. I hardly ever actually went through with anything physical. Define hardly ever, I said. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. The silence told me everything I needed to know. By around 11 p.m., she finally finished packing and was standing in the doorway like a defeated game show contestant. 2 large suitcases, 3 shopping bags, and a garbage bag full of clothes and shoes. I never realized how much crap she'd managed to collect on my dime. Half the pile looked like props from a low-budget music video. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. Not my problem, I said. I don't have anywhere to go. My parents won't talk to me. My friends. She trailed off like the sentence had wandered into traffic. Your friends probably already know what you are. Birds of a feather, right? That brought the waterworks back. Please, just let me stay one more night. I'll figure something out tomorrow. No, I'll sleep on the couch. I won't bother you. I just need time to find a place. You should have thought about that before you decided to be a lying, cheating criminal. She sniffled. Please don't make me go to a hotel. I don't have money for it. What happened to all that escort money? I asked. It's complicated. Most of it's already spent. On what? Don't tell me. Oh wait, let me guess. Clothes, makeup, hair, nails. Gotta keep the brand alive. It was maintaining my appearance for work, she said. It's a business expense. I just stared at her. Sophie. I opened the front door and pointed. Get out of my house. She struggled to haul her mountain of bags to the door, looking like she was auditioning for an extreme luggage competition. Then, just as she reached the threshold, she spun around with that classic villain's final line. This isn't over. I'll find a way to destroy you for this. I'll tell everyone what kind of person you really are. I gave her a tired smile. You already tried to destroy me for 2 years. I'm just returning the favor. She slammed the door behind her, and I locked it tight. Just to be safe, I changed the locks the very next morning. No free passes here. Fast forward to Wednesday morning, and my phone rings. Caller ID says, Barbara Smith. Hello, Mrs. Smith. Hi, Maverick. I hope it's okay that I'm calling you directly. No problem, ma'am. What's up? Her voice wavered. Is this real? What we saw online. What Sophie's been doing. I sighed, bracing myself. Unfortunately, yes. All of it. There was a long silence, the kind where you can almost hear someone trying not to lose it. We had no idea, she finally said. We thought she was building a legitimate social media business. She showed us contracts, client testimonials, business plans, all fake. She's been running escort services and dating scams while I paid her actual living expenses. Oh my God. I could hear her start to cry. We've been sending her money for months, thousands and thousands of dollars. Every time she called with an emergency or an opportunity. I know. I saw the emails. She was playing all of us. There was a shaky pause. What should we do? How do we handle this? I didn't sugarcoat it. Cut her off completely. Don't give her another dime. And maybe talk to a lawyer about getting your money back. Though I doubt there's much left to recover. Her voice softened, almost defeated. She's our daughter. She's a criminal, Mrs. Smith. She's been running illegal businesses, evading taxes, and scamming multiple people, including her own family. The IRS is already investigating. Another long silence. Thank you for telling us, Maverick. I know this must be hard for you too. We always liked you, you know. We thought you were good for her. I swallowed hard. I thought I was too. Thursday, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Sophie, but from a new phone, because of course, she'd switched numbers. The message read, Please, can we talk? I'm staying at a motel, and I'm almost out of money. My clients won't answer my calls. I think someone reported my profiles because everything is getting shut down. The police came by asking questions. Yeah, that'd be me. I had reported every single one of her profiles, to the platforms, to law enforcement, to the IRS, even the Attorney General's office. Her entire digital empire was imploding in real time, like a house of cards made of Instagram selfies and expensive lies. Then came the classic sob story. Please, Maverick, I'm begging you. I'll pay you back everything. I swear on my mother's grave. I just need help getting back on my feet. I can't do this alone. I don't know how to live like a normal person. Right. Because normal person apparently doesn't spend their days lounging in yoga pants while racking up credit card bills. Friday evening, the door buzzer went off. There she was, looking like someone had stolen her entire glam squad and replaced them with a sad laundry day. No makeup, hair a tangled mess, wearing the exact same clothes she'd left in 3 days ago. The Chanel bag? Gone. Instead, she had a beat-up backpack that looked like it had survived a zombie apocalypse. She pressed the intercom button, voice barely above a whisper. Please, just 5 minutes. I'm desperate. Against my better judgment, and honestly, because I'm not a total monster, I buzzed her in. She walked in looking like she'd been dragged through a thrift store and left there overnight. Dark circles under her eyes screamed, no sleep for you. Her skin, stripped of its $400 a month skincare regimen, looked like it had seen better days. Hair flat, limp, begging for a professional stylist to rescue it. The confident, beautiful woman who stormed out 3 days ago was gone. In her place was someone ordinary, broken. I messed up, she said right away, eyes red and puffy. I know I messed up. Everything you said was right. She swallowed hard, the kind of swallow that comes with admitting you've hit rock bottom. My parents won't talk to me. My friends think I'm insane. All my accounts are frozen or deleted. She started crying again, like a toddler who lost her favorite toy. The IRS seized my bank accounts. I have nowhere to go. Still not my problem. The IRS wants to audit me going back 3 years, she sobbed. I got a letter about criminal tax evasion. I don't understand any of this legal stuff. I've never dealt with anything like this. Well, you should have thought about that before deciding to moonlight as a criminal. Please, Maverick, she pleaded, voice cracking. I know I don't deserve help, but I'm desperate. I'll sign over my car to you. I'll give you all the jewelry you bought me. I'll do whatever you want. What I want is for you to leave me alone. I can't survive this by myself, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I don't know how to do anything real. I don't have job skills or references or any way to explain the gap in my employment history. She broke down completely, sobbing on my floor like a child who just realized Santa wasn't real. Help me, she whispered, looking up with those big, desperate eyes. Please help me figure out how to fix this. I'll be your servant. I'll clean your house. I'll do anything. Looking at Sophie crying on my floor, I felt absolutely nothing. No sympathy, no urge to help, no leftover love, just satisfaction. Satisfaction that she was finally experiencing consequences for her actions. You want help? I asked, watching her eyes light up like a kid at Christmas. Yes, please. I'll do anything. Here's your help. Get a job. A real job. Restaurant server, retail worker, call center rep, cleaning lady, whatever. They'll hire someone with no experience and no references. But I have to work 40 hours a week like a normal person, pay taxes on every penny I earn, pay rent with my own money, buy my own food and clothes and gas. Yeah, that's the deal. I don't know how to learn. Figure it out like everyone else does. What about the IRS? The legal stuff? I could go to prison. Get a lawyer. A public defender if you can't afford one. Face the consequences of your choices, I said, trying to keep the tone somewhere between stern and slightly amused. She wiped her nose with the back of her hand, mascara running like a sad Rorschach test. Will you help me find a job or a lawyer? I don't know where to start with any of this number stuff, she sniffled. I don't understand how any of this works. I don't know how to write a resume or interview for real jobs or... That's not my problem anymore, Sophie. I cut in. You spent 2 years lying to me, stealing from me, cheating on me, and running illegal businesses behind my back. You made your choices. Now deal with the results. She looked like I'd punched a kitten. I was just trying to have a good life by being a criminal, she wailed. By exploiting men and lying to your family and living off other people like a parasite. I never meant for it to go this far, but it did. And now you get to learn what real life is like for people who don't have sugar daddies and scam victims paying their way. I didn't say a word, just watched her unravel, the realization hitting like a ton of unpaid bills. Finally, she stood up, wiping tears with the sleeve of her shirt. So that's it. You're just going to let me fail. You already failed, I said flatly. I'm just not stopping you from facing it anymore. Her lip quivered. What if I can't handle it? What if I end up homeless or worse? Then maybe you'll understand what you put other people through. The men you scammed. The family you lied to. The boyfriend you betrayed for 2 years. She shuffled toward the door, then turned back with one last desperate look. I really did love you, you know. No, you didn't, I said. You loved what I could do for you. You loved my apartment and my car and my credit card. You loved having someone to pay your bills while you played pretend businesswoman and sold yourself to strangers. She hesitated. Maybe someday you'll forgive me. Maybe, but I'll never trust you again. And I'll never help you again. You're on your own now. With that, she left. After Sophie disappeared into the chaos she'd created, I thought I was finally free. But then the reality hit harder than I expected. A few weeks later, I got a call from a friend. Turns out Sophie couldn't pay the massive tax debt she'd racked up. The IRS wasn't messing around. She's been officially charged with tax evasion, my friend said, voice grim but oddly satisfying. The government takes these cases seriously. If convicted, she could face up to 5 years in federal prison, plus hefty fines, potentially up to $250,000. I couldn't help but feel a strange mix of vindication and relief. Justice was finally catching up to her, and the nightmare I'd lived through was closing its chapter. Weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that Sophie had been arrested. The news didn't shock me. It felt like the closing credits on a terrible movie I never wanted to watch again. The judge handed down a sentence that included prison time, supervised release, and community service, basically the full package for a tax evader. Meanwhile, life decided to throw me a curveball, one I wasn't expecting but was more than ready to catch. It started at a tax seminar. Yes, ironic, I know, where I met Lisa. She was an IRS accountant, sharp as a tack, and had that dry sense of humor that immediately put me at ease. "You know," she said after I admitted I had a rather unique history with the IRS. "I'm used to seeing people on the other side of audits, but your story might be the most entertaining one I've heard." We laughed, and soon enough, what began as casual coffee chats turned into dinners, then weekends exploring the city. Lisa wasn't just brilliant with numbers. She had this warmth that made me want to open up in ways I never did before. One night, over pizza and some cheap red wine, she nudged me. "So, Mr. Former Victim of Tax Evasion, what's next for you?" I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. Honestly, moving forward, no more scams, no more secrets. Just real life. And maybe someone who doesn't find my IRS baggage too heavy. Lisa grinned. "Good, because I'm a professional packer. I handle baggage all day." For the first time in a long time, I believed in happy endings. The IRS audits and tax evasion trials were behind me, replaced by a future that looked surprisingly bright, with someone who actually made me laugh when the world felt like it was falling apart. Life had finally found its balance. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.